Hello, good evening. Today I'm going to discuss about data structures in data dictionary. So, I was assigned data structures, but I'm just going to explain what data dictionary is because it's important in understanding data structures. So, what is data dictionary? So, data dictionary basically is kind of like giving context to your data that you're dealing with. So it is basically confirms, collects, coordinates what a specific data term means to different people in the organization. So it simplifies the data so that the other people in your team, for example, the system analyst or the programmer, could understand what you're referring to by that data. So, data dictionary contains data flow, elements, data stores, and of course, data structures. So, data structures is what we are going to discuss today. So, what are data structures? So, data structures are a group of smaller structures and elements. So, an algebraic notation is used to represent data structures. So, as I've said, it is used to kind of like um, define the data that you're referring to into more detail. So you kind of like have to break it down. And so it has like these algebraic notations. So what are these notations? So there are actually a lot of notations, but I only pick the ones that are very common. So the first one is the equal sign or consist of. So this symbol shows what elements make up a larger data structure. So you'll understand that later when I give you an example. And so we also have a plus sign and it's and. This indicates that multiple elements are required together. So it is usually after the equal sign. So we also have the parentheses. So elements within parentheses may or may not be present. So basically it's you should use parentheses if the data or the element is optional. So also have the bracket. So select one of several alternatives. So choose one option from the list within brackets. So self-explanatory. So if you have to have something that is for someone to be able to pick choices no, that are predefined. So also have the asterisk. So these are just comments that you could put in your data structures. And so um, I'll give you an example now. So as you can see here, you have customer order. So customer order, you have an equal sign. So we know that by an equal sign, it means that there are more elements that should be under the customer order. So in this case, we have customer ID plus customer name, and customer name is also has first name plus middle name and last name. So a few things that you notice here. So we have the plus sign. So that just means that for customer order, we of course have customer ID and the customer name. And so you also notice there that there's the parentheses. So as I've said before, the parentheses means that um, it is optional since a lot of people doesn't have middle initials, so it's optional. So the same for the address there. So mailing address, apartment is optional, stuff like that. And as you can notice at the last line, we have the shipping method. So it is on like square bracket. So that just means that square bracket means that it's you have options. So you have options where you have the standard option for shipping method or the expedited or the overnight shipping method, stuff like that. Also, we have the comments there. So like the mailing address just says there. Uh, you could do a mailing address. It's optional. So applications to my field. So in IT, uh, data structure is very important. Or it's very common because, for example, when you're making an app, so since usually there are when you're making an app, there are a lot of people involved. So you have the system analyst, sometimes you have the programmers of that app. So that's very common in the IT industry. So that's why data structure is very important so that um, a particular person tasked in one job can kind of like define the data that you're referring to another person. So for example, if in designing an app, so system analyst might um, give like a data structure to the programmer so that the programmer can kind of like know what the context of that data is. For example, I mentioned there in the square brackets, the square brackets, the notation. So, of course, in the notation, for example, we all know that the square brackets means that you have options. So by that, when the programmer sees that, so when he sees that there's, for example, a square bracket on that particular thing, so he knows what, for example, what data structure that he will use. So for example, since since that is like an option, so he could use an array list or any list in the uh, in making or coding that particular um, feature of the app. So that's just some of the applications of data structures uh, in my field. And so that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on the next topic.